flow, the honeys, I'm in the Lambo. Yeah, baby.
Is the hole on the breech face that the firing pin will protrude from. And in some instances, the barrel will drop, and that bottom edge of that hole, it's a point like this where the two tools create this mark. And as the barrel is dropping, that area is slicing or scraping that displaced material, creating a shear mark. So that's striated detail that we potentially can use for individual detail to identify a specific firearm or not.
So when you're comparing and identifying two shell casings that's coming from the same firearm, it's not simply just the firing pin mark, correct?
That's correct. We will look at all areas of the fired component, the cartridge case or bullet, and look for similarities. We only need to ID on one when there's sufficient agreement or, enough individual characteristics there for us to determine whether or not they were fired from that specific firearm or the same firearm. But we do, general practice, look at all of the areas to make sure there's nothing out of the ordinary that would give us pause to question what we're looking at.
You said earlier when you were describing an inconclusive or even an inconclusive positive that you don't have enough individual characteristics or markings to allow an identification.
That is correct.
But in identification, you do have ample individual characteristics. Is that correct?
Yes, an identification means there was enough agreement present to allow us to come to the conclusion of an identification.
The process that you followed in identifying these rifle shell casings from the assault on Charles Jones to ones that came from this black box, did you follow a similar process when you identified in your earlier findings, when you told us you identified your item number 7, which was a shell casing with the MXT impressions on the head casing that the Tampa Police Department submitted to you, when you compared that and identified that to the 2 shell casings submitted by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, the 2 9mm shell casings?
Yes, I followed the same process for comparisons.
And in that instance, you did have aperture shear that you were looking at?
For the 9mm, yes, I did.
So I'm going to move on to your a report that you have dated of March 30th and March 20th of this year. Some follow-up work that you did in this case where items were submitted to the FDLE laboratory. Are those 2 reports related?
They are related, yes.
Do they essentially have almost all agreement as far as all of your work and findings in both of them?
Yes, there is just one additional item on the March 30th report that was missing from the first report.
Okay. And was that in fact some fragments or pieces of lead that were in the submission?
Yeah, there was a missed lead fragment that was later examined and determined to have no value.
So I'm going to go to your March 30th report. Do you have it? If you can pull it up, you have it in front of you?
I do.
Okay, thank you. This is under your the same TPD number that we've been talking about throughout, 7688.
That is correct.
So I'll ask you, on February 24th of this year, did Juan Ramos again make submissions?
He did, yes.
And on March 5th of 26, did Detective Joshua Kennedy from the Tampa Police Department resubmit the 2 rifles, your items 8 and 9?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to go to your, outside of the rifles, we'll start with that first, the other items. This would be your item 10 through 16. So
Okay.
Items 10 through 16 and item 12 and 13, were there more than one items under those 2 items?
Correct. Items 12 and 13 had multiple items in their singular FDLE item number.
And were they labeled 12A, 12B, and similarly 13A, 13B, et cetera?
They were, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go to item number 10. What was its description?
Item 10 was one fired bullet jacket.
Your Honor, the state would tender State's Exhibit 142A through G for admission.
142A through G.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Gonzalez?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Sonardi?
No objection.
Mr. Wise?
I have renewed previous litigated objection.
Okay, and Mr. Petratus? Okay, admitted.
So I'm going to publish States A. Is this your item 10 packaging?
Yes, it is.
Do you see the FDLE number and your item number on there?
I do, yes.
And remove the exhibit panel here. You have your handwriting, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you've described that as a fired bullet jacket?
That is correct.
142B, you see the same label, same numbers, and this is now your item number 11
That is correct.
and your handwriting?
Yes.
And how is item 11 labeled?
Item 11 was one fired bullet jacket.
Let me go back real quick because I don't want to have to republish. In States 142A, your item 10, is there an evidence marker description?
Yes, that says EM number 23.
Okay, and it's described as jacketing.
Yes.
And back to 142B, same thing. Is this related to evidence marker 25 in the description?
That is yes.
And States 142C, is this your item 12? And you see your handwriting, if I can move this.
Yes.
Exhibit, okay. And is this related to a described item at evidence marker number 29?
Yes, it is.
States 142D, is this your item 13?
Yes,
Do you see your handwriting?
I do.
And is this a described piece of evidence from evidence marker number 30?
It is, yes.
States 142E, your item 14
Yes.
and your handwriting.
Yes,
And up here under description, evidence marker 31 projectile.
that's correct.
States 142F, your item 15, is that correct?
That is correct.
And your handwriting,
That's correct.
all right? And this is described, and this is at evidence marker 35 fragments.
Yes,
And these white labels were attached by the submitting agency,
that's correct. Those are agency labels.
and that's the Tampa Police Department, obviously.
Yes,
States 142G, your item 16,
yes,
and your handwriting is below it,
yes,
and it's described at evidence marker number 36, jacketing. or
That's correct.
jacketings. Okay, great. So going back to, we've described 10 and 11, evidence marker 12, you had a 12A, a 12B through G, a 12H, and then you described a one unknown apparent metal fragment not examined.
that's correct.
Okay. At 12A, you're describing the item as one fired bullet,
That is correct.
and then at B through G, 6 fired bullet jacket fragments,
That's correct.
and item 12H, 6 apparent lead fragments.
That is correct.
And then item 13, again, this was the other item that had several items contained within it.
Yes,
At item 13A, 1 fired bullet jacket.
that is correct.
Items 13B and 13C, 2 fired bullet jacket fragments.
That is correct.
13D, 1 apparent lead fragment.
Yes,
And then 13E in bold, 1 apparent lead fragment.
that is correct.
Was that the additional lead fragment?
It was.
That was not in the previous report?
That is correct.
All right, and it was of no comparison value?
That is correct.
Item 14 is 1 fired bullet.
That is correct.
Item 15 is 1 fired bullet jacket fragment.
Yes.
All right. And item 16, two fired bullet jacket fragments, 16A and 16B. So I guess there was a third item that had two items.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. All right. So all of those items that were of comparison value that
Okay.
you were able to find either something that had been imparted onto them where they had contact with rifling, all of those items, and I'm going to read them to you: 10, 11, 12A through 12F, 13A through 13C, 14, 15, your item 16A, and your item 16B. Were those compared to the item 8 and 9 firearms, the two, the 5.56 NATO rifle and item 8, and the 300 blackout auto-loading firearm, just going by your description, in item 9? Were they compared to them to determine if they may have been fired from them?
There was a comparison done.
Okay. And were they eliminated?
They were eliminated.
And how were they and why were they eliminated?
So all of those listed items were eliminated to both the item 8 and item 9 firearms based on a difference in their class characteristics.
Did that include on some of these items different caliber class?
There were two that I could determine caliber on. So that would be a difference between those items and the firearms. But the remaining items were different class based on their rifling type.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that all of them that had rifling on them that you were able to determine rifling type were different than the rifling type in those in the rifle in 8 and the auto-loading firearm in 9?
Yes, all of the items that I determined had value in this instance were eliminated to those two firearms.
Okay. The rifling in the rifle, the 5.56 rifle, your item 8, and the 300 blackout auto-loading firearm that the jury got to see. What type of rifling do those two firearms have?
So both of those rifles have what's called conventional rifling. It's sharper, kind of more step-like, so the rifling kind of goes like step like this a little bit.
Okay. And the imparted rifling on the items that you described that had rifling on them, was it a different type of rifling?
Yes, so for the listed items that council mentioned, 10, 11, 12A through 12F, 13A through 13C, 14, 15, 16A, and 16B had what's called polygonal rifling with rails, which is a different type of rifling. It's a little bit more wavy with rails cut into them as well. And then the item 12G fragment was only determined to be polygonally rifled, so that more kind of wavy rifling versus the conventional of the two firearms.
And on that class characteristic alone, they would be eliminated as being fired in those two guns under your item 8 and 9?
That is correct, yes.
All right. So I want to talk about the two projectiles that were submitted this year, 12A and 14, where you were able to determine caliber class. All right. So 12A you described as one fired bullet, and 14 is described as one fired bullet.
Yes,
With
that's
both of those items, when you examined them, you were able to determine their caliber class?
I was, yes.
What is their caliber class?
I determined that both of those items were 38 caliber class.
Okay. And would that caliber class include 5.56 NATO caliber?
It would not.
Would it include 300 blackout?
It
caliber?
would not.
So both of those calibers of your 8 and 9 items, states 56 and 57, they are different caliber classes.
That is correct, yes.
So let's talk about calibers that fall within this caliber class of these two items, this 38 caliber class, okay? Would 9mm fall in that class?
It does, yes.
Would 380 auto fall in that class?
380, yes.
357 Magnum,
Yes,
38 Special.
that is correct.
So if we go back to the item 7, the shell casing from the Tampa Police Department in this case, that had the MXT on it. That's a 9mm caliber shell casing, correct?
That is correct.
Would that have been a round that would have fit in caliber into that caliber class?
That caliber class is generally loaded in 9mm Luger caliber cartridge cases.
Other than 12G that you mentioned earlier, you indicate in here 12A that you noted displays rifling characteristics similar to firearms by Glock.
That's correct.
Were there other items that also shared rifling characteristics similar to firearms by Glock?
So yeah, based on my results, I ran what's called a general rifling characteristics search only on the one item due to I was able to determine caliber class and more characteristics of that one item. But due to the remaining items in that grouping having the polygonal with rails type of rifling, that is generally consistent with Glock style firearms as well.
Did you conduct microscopic screening of these items?
I did.
And you grouped them on similar class characteristics?
I did.
Was the polygonal rifling one of them?
It was, yes.
Would it be fair to say that, well, let me rephrase that. Glock firearms generally have polygonal rifling.
Yes.
The two that you were able, 12A and 14, to determine the caliber class, why weren't you able to determine that with the others?
Due to the remaining items being fragments, I did not have enough characteristics or a diameter of the item to be able to determine a caliber class.
So even though you noted 12A in your report as having, and I want to read it the way you have it written, rifling characteristics similar to firearms by Glock, among possible others, several of these others also had the same thing, correct?
Yes.
In your examination, you determined that?
Yes, due to the polygonal rifling with rails.
Okay. Now, polygonal rifling with rails, can you further discriminate and distinguish between generations of Glock firearms as far as that rifling?
Based on my experience and what I've seen, the polygonal rifling with rails is with the Generation 5 Glock firearms or newer.
Okay. All right. 12G, that item, 12G, was that also a situation where the item itself did not have sufficient amount of rifling to allow you to determine if it was polygonal with rails?
Due to that item, I was only able to determine that it was polygonally rifled in order to be able to do the elimination. Due to the size, is it possible there could have been rails? Yes. Is it possible that it was just polygonal rifling? Yes. Due to its size and its condition, I could not determine anything further.
All right. So it's possible that could have also been fired in a Generation 5.
It's a possibility.
All right. And because you didn't have enough material, I guess, or enough bearing surface that was imparted, I don't know how to phrase it. Maybe I'm not doing it very artfully, but and you were only able to say it was polygonal. When you gave your description in your report as to similar firearms that displayed that, you gave Glock, and then you added Heckler and Koch. Is that correct?
That is correct.
For the record, that's HECKLER and KOCH. That is a German manufacturer?
I believe so.
All right. And among others, you wrote too.
That is correct.
Okay. In making that determination about what firearms possess that type of rifling characteristics, do you consult a known database that is utilized in the field of firearms analysis?
Yes, we use what's called a general rifling characteristics database. It is maintained by the Association of Firearms and Tool Marks Examiners, which is an international organization of firearms examiners. It's maintained there, and we can enter the different class characteristics. So for example, if it is a 38 caliber class with polygonal rifling, we can go ahead and enter those characteristics in, and it'll generate a list of makes and models of firearms that potentially have that same characteristic of 38 caliber class with polygonal rifling.
And that's a database that was created by the FBI?
Initially, yes.
Okay, and now maintained by AFTE?
Yes, that is correct.
Is that something that is generally accepted as a common practice in the field of firearms analysis, using that database?
Yes.
Do you regularly use it?
If I have a bullet comparison or a bullet without a firearm, yes, I will use it for purposes of generating lists of firearms.
Is access to it restricted to law enforcement and AFTE members?
You have to be a member of AFTE to be able to use it.
But other than 12G, the other items where you found the polygonal rifling with rails, that is consistent with being fired in a Generation 5 Glock pistol or possibly a Generation 6 or newer generation.
Based on my experience, that's the type of firearm that I've seen it in, that I'm most familiar with of it coming from a Gen 5 Glock.
And just for the record, the Generation 6 has been introduced within the last year.
Yes, I believe so. I don't have no experience working with the Gen 6 one yet.
So I just want to make sure we're clear. So the items that you found polygonal rifling with rails would include 10, 11, 12B, 12C, 12D, 12E, 12F, 13A, 13B, 13C, 14, 15, 16A, and 16B,
In addition to 12A as well.
and 12A. Thank you. And your item 13D and 13E and 12H, you described those as lead fragments?
That is correct.
And did they display or have any type of rifling imparted on them or any rifling characteristics?
No, I determined they had no value.
Would they be similar to your items 3 and 4 in the previous submissions that were lead core?
Yes, for these, they could be parts of that core or other lead material that broke off. They're all smaller fragments.
If we had a Generation 5 Glock with polygonal rifling with rails, would you be able to determine, or would you be able to at least conduct analysis to determine if there was enough individual characteristics that those projectiles that we've discussed were fired from that firearm?
If a firearm was submitted that matched the class characteristics, comparison could be conducted.
Can I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ms. True, same would hold true for any 9mm projectile, specifically one that may have been found in the hood area of the vehicle that our victim was in, that was intact with rifling on it, that was a 9mm projectile. if we do not have the firearm to compare it to, I mean, it couldn't be compared, right, to a firearm unless we had it to send to you.
Yes, I can do comparisons of projectiles to projectiles. Or if it needs to be identified to a specific firearm, I can't do anything unless we have the suspected firearm or suspicious firearm.
I'll tender the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, you have any questions?
Your Honor, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Mr. Sonardi,
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Wise,
Yes, thank you.
Morning, Mr.
Good morning.
I want to go back first, kind of over the process you administer in a case like this, and really the field in general.
Okay.
When you're analyzing casings, projectiles, you're looking first at class characteristics, right?
That's correct.
And I think we covered some of this. Those are what you call the predetermined features, right?
That's correct.
That can be the lands and grooves, the caliber, the direction of the twist, things like that.
Yes, sir.
And that's a relatively objective comparison, right?
It is.
Where you take measurements, you have a standard to go by when you're determining class characteristics, right?
Yes.
When you move on to the individual comparison, where you're trying to identify not just a type of firearm, but a specific firearm, that becomes a subjective analysis, right?
It tends to lean more subjective, yes.
And in that situation, you're looking for basically significant agreement of individual characteristics. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
And within the field, when you're looking at the individual characteristics like that, there's really no set threshold for qualifying something as being in significant agreement with something else.
We don't have a set number. However, during our training, we look at thousands of comparisons of items that are known to come from the same firearm and items that are known to come from different firearms, including makes and models that are the same, to determine, that we are able to distinguish these differences and these individual characteristics.
And you yourself, in doing this for a number of years, you've kind of developed your own threshold that you kind of hold yourself to, correct?
That's correct.
But within the industry, that's not really the case. Unless someone like you does that, it's really up to the subjective work of the specific examiner. Is that correct?
Each examiner does develop their criteria. The more they see, the longer they do it. But however, all of our training indicates, comparisons of known and known non-matches in order to develop a suitable criteria to make these conclusions.
And with regards to the individual comparisons, there's really no scientific process for determining whether two things are in significant agreement.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Really, when you're determining whether two items are in significant agreement as to individual characteristics, it's really based on the examiner's eyes, right?
So what we're looking for is the overall pattern agreement of the detail present. So yes, we are using our eyes through our comparison microscope that allows us to see two items at the same time under the same magnification. And we're looking for this agreement of the detail. So it's the overall pattern of the knowns that we create with the firearm to see this. And if we don't have it, we're looking for that repeated pattern between the two items of evidence submitted. And via our training, we see all of these different types of, yes, this is enough for an identification because we've seen what is needed to know that these came from the same firearm and what that requirement is for the appropriate quantity and quality of an identification.
Now let me jump to this case. Of the items submitted to you by Tampa Police Department, and I'm going to talk to you first about the different projectiles. We heard earlier in your direct about a report from January 9th of, I think it was 25, where you analyzed, I think, 4 potential projectiles that were submitted. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
And of those, 2 were sufficient for comparison purposes, correct?
Yes, 2 had value.
And there were two, they weren't full bullets, but they were 2 bullet jacket fragments, correct?
That is correct.
But there was rifling on on those fragments, correct?
That is correct.
And because of that, then you were able to compare it.
Yes.
And in that instance, with those two projectiles that you were able to compare, you determined they were inconclusive to each other.
To each other, yes.
So you can't say whether or not they were fired from the same firearm.
No, due to their condition, I was unable to determine if they were fired from the same firearm.
And we covered this, but one of those two you were able to determine at least was a .22 caliber class. Right?
Yes,
The other one you were not able to determine a class.
that is correct.
So you can't say whether that one was even. I mean, we can't say they were fired from the same gun. Can't even say they were fired from the same caliber gun. Right?
For that instance, they did have similar class characteristics, and in that instance, they similar landing groove widths. However, I could not determine a caliber for I believe the item 1 due to its condition.
And just so we're clear, and it probably is, but you discussed earlier that when you received the two rifles, they came with test fires. Right?
That yes.
But when we're talking about these projectiles you're comparing, those weren't the test fires, right?
No, these were the submitted evidence, and for the purposes of comparison to the firearms that I received, I generated my own test fires.
Gotcha. And that's standard. Right?
Yes.
Now, jumping ahead to the more recent report from not last month anymore, but from March. In that instance, there were quite a few projectiles you were able to test, correct?
Yes.
And that included two basically intact bullets, two complete bullets, right?
Yes.
They had some damaging on them, but you were able to. They weren't fragments; they were actual bullets.
Correct. Yes.
And then you had 3 fired bullet jackets, correct? And when I say 3, I mean 3 that you were able to compare.
Yes, I think there were 3 more intact fire bullet jackets. I believe the rest of them were fragments.
Okay. And yeah, and there were, I think, 11 total fragments that actually had rifling as well that you were able to compare, correct?
I'd have to count, but that sounds right.
If you wouldn't mind counting.
Yeah. Yes, I do count 11 fired bullet jacket fragments.
Okay. So between the 2 TPD submissions, there are 18 total projectiles that had enough rifling on them that you were able to compare. I think there's 2 from the 2025 report, 2 bullets from 2026, 3 jackets, and 11 fragments, which, if my math is correct, is 18 total projectiles.
I believe so,
Sound
yes.
right? Okay. I won't hold you to the numbers if my math's wrong. Okay. Of those 18 projectiles, all of them were eliminated from having been fired from that 300 blackout that you showed the jury earlier, right?
The initial 2, oh wait, you said to the 300 blackout?
The 300 blackout.
I apologize. Yes, I believe all of them were eliminated to the 300 blackout firearm.
And of the submissions from Tampa PD, those 18 that you were able to compare, none of those, there were some you weren't able to determine caliber class, but of what you could determine caliber class, none were 300 caliber, correct?
That is correct.
And then again, of those 18, all but 2 were eliminated from the 5.56 that you showed the jury earlier, correct?
Correct. All but the 2 that were inconclusive were eliminated.
And the 2 that were not eliminated, they were inconclusive, right?
That is correct.
And you discussed earlier, you have inconclusive positive, inconclusive negative, inconclusive.
That's correct.
These were just inconclusive, right?
That is correct.
So you can't come to any conclusion as to whether they were fired from that 220 or that 5.56 that we saw.
That is correct. They lacked any sufficient detail.
Now, of the 16 projectiles on that report from this year, you talked earlier about basically 3 different types of rifling, right?
Yes,
Conventional, polygonal with rails, and polygonal.
that is correct.
And I think you kind of covered this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you talked about lands and grooves some. In your
That's
direct, right? Lands and grooves is really like more connected with conventional rifling, correct?
There are lands and grooves in polygonal rifling as well. It's more described kind of as like hills and valleys rather than like the steps that you see in conventional.
Okay, good. That was gonna be my next question. Are they more like hills and valleys? Okay. So that's, and conventional rifling is much more common in the firearm world, correct?
I do see conventional rifling more frequently, yes.
And you're able to make comparisons with conventional rifling to determine or potentially eliminate, if a projectile having been fired from a rifle or a firearm, right?
I can do that with any type of rifling. I can determine.
But the markings, the rifling left on something fired from a polygonal firearm, it's quite a bit different than the markings left on something fired from a conventional rifle firearm. Is that correct?
They do mark a little differently in the aspects of how it is, but we are still able to make identifications on them. They still have the machining processes that develop the individual characteristics in their barrels that allow us to look at that individual detail to make comparisons and identifications.
Right, and that was kind of the point I was going to be getting at is it's pretty easy to distinguish between something fired from a polygonal firearm and something fired from conventional, right? And by that I mean it's easy if something's fired from a polygonal rifling firearm, it's pretty easy to eliminate that from a firearm that has conventional rifling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I should have just asked that question to begin with.
Sorry.
That's okay. My fault. So, of the vast majority of the projectiles from the 2026 report, they showed having been fired from a polygonal with rails rifled firearm.
That is correct.
And that's generally a Glock, right?
In my experience, yeah.
There can be some other, maybe some obscure brands, but of the major brands, Glock is the one that uses that.
That is correct, yeah.
And then one of the others, 12G, you found polygonal, not polygonal with rails.
That's correct.
And you said that it's possible it could have had rails, but you did not. And that one, all you could say was polygonal.
That is correct, yes.
And polygonal is used by some of the older Glocks, and then of the major manufacturers, also H&K.
Yes.
And there, again, could be some smaller manufacturers that use it, but generally, when you see polygonal, it's an older Glock or an H&K.
That's generally what we see it in, yes.
The two rifles that you showed the jury earlier, no question they have conventional rifle, right?
Yes.
The all of the projectiles that you were able to determine caliber for in the March 2026 report, again, I think we covered this clearly, but those were all 38 caliber class, right?
Yes, the two that I could determine were 38 caliber.
Which is also 9mm, right?
It could be, yes.
There's no way that either one of those rifles could fire a 38 caliber class projectile, right?
No, 38 caliber class would not be able to be fired in those.
Now, let me then talk about the casing comparisons that you conducted. So the two reports that we heard about from Jacksonville submissions, and that was like 9 casings that were submitted by Jacksonville. Were you told where those originated from?
I have, the only indication I have of location is on what's called our case tracking form, and I have it in the description from Black Box in Juicy Bag, and that's all the information I was given.
Okay, so that may connect back to some things that the jury's heard about, but that's what you have for those. And then what you did in that case is you compared those casings to each other, correct?
In this instance, these cartridge cases were only screened with each other.
And that was gonna be my next question. You just did a presumptive examination. Correct.
Yeah, basically. So I determined that they potentially could have come from the same one based on their class characteristics and some similarities, but full micro was not performed on these.
And to make an identification, you would have to do a full microscopic comparison.
That is correct, yes.
And then the same thing with the, I guess it's 15 casings that you were also, they were also submitted to you by Jacksonville that went back to an October 2023 alleged offense. Those casings, you again only did a presumptive examination, correct?
Between the casings submitted and just here, yes, these casings were just screened with each other.
And in each of those instances, when you did the comparison of the casings to one another, you just used one case from each group. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And in that instance, then you were the one that you selected from the group and the one you selected from the other group, you were able to identify them as having been fired from the same firearm.
That is correct, yes.
But then the other, I guess, the other 8 and 15 from each group, you did not do any further testing on.
Correct.
Now, when you make an identification like that to say these were fired from the same firearm, you can't say they were fired from the same firearm on the same day, right?
Oh, correct. Yes, I can only say that they were fired from the same firearm. I don't have any information or any ability to say when they were fired.
They could have been fired 5 years apart.
Yeah, I can't speak to that.
Now, both of the casings that you took from each of those groups, you also compared to the 5.56 that you showed the jury this morning, right?
That is correct, yes.
And you eliminated both of those casings as having been fired from that firearm.
That is correct, yes.
Now, we talk about the 9mm casings that we heard about. May I approach, Madam Clerk?
Yes. Yeah, I don't, did you get all your exhibits back? Okay. Wait. Wait, what's going on here? So, what happened? I mean, Mr. Harmon opened it, okay, and the bullets fell out, so we need to reclose it, unless you're gonna. Okay, that's fine, just make sure the evidence gets back in the.
Okay, so the 3 9mm casings that we heard about, you compared those and were able to determine they were fired from the same firearm, correct?
That's correct.
But again, just like with the 5.56 casing, you can't say they were fired at the same time or the same day, correct?
No, I can only determine if they were fired from the same firearm or not.
Again, might have been fired 5 years apart.
Objection, speculation.
She's already answered the question, she can't say when.
The 2 firearms that you compared, and again, were you given information as far as where they originated from, anything like that?
The 2 firearms, you said?
I'm sorry, not the 2 firearms, the 2 groups of 9mm casings.
Judge, just for the record, we're talking about item 7 and 9.1, 9.2, is that right?
This one is, I believe, item, well, it is 7. I think it's your
14.
number 14, yes.
So I only have on my case tracking form for what is FDLE item 7 from 7688. According to this, it was recovered from homicide on 6/23/24 at 15:16 hours via Tampa CST, and I believe that is the only location information I have provided for any of the 3.
Gotcha. And that one is the one that I have on the overhead right now, which is State's Exhibit 14, correct? If you need to-
Yeah, I don't know states exhibits, but I believe that is my
Okay.
item 7. Sorry.
And the reason I have it up here, we see MXT, and I think you were asked a little about that.
Yes.
MXT is on the headstand, right?
That's correct.
And that stands for Max Tech,
I believe so, yes.
which would be the brand. Of
Yes.
it, right? Which is a pretty common brand, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And then in comparison, the other 2 9mm that you determined were fired from the same firearm, they are a different brand, correct? correct? And I can put them up there to show you.
Yeah, I believe they were both Federals.
Because they have a little different marking. They both have that FC, correct?
Yes, so they're different manufactured brand of ammunition, but the brand of ammo does not have bearing. We're looking at the individual marks that are translated from the firearm.
Sure, sure. And again, you determine these are fired from the same firearm, but I'm just pointing out two different brands of ammunition. Right?
That is correct. Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have.
Okay, please make sure the evidence is repackaged and given back to the clerk.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. Any questions, Mr. Petrides? Any redirect, Mr. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. Counsel asked you about the commonality of Max Tech ammunition. I just wanted to ask you, there's a lot of other manufacturers of 9mm ammunition.
Yes, there's a lot.
Federal?
There's Federal, Winchester, Remington, Spear, Hornady. There's a lot.
So you were asked about, and this would be your report 4099, and then your report 7633. Okay? So
Yes.
4099, just to reference your prior testimony, were the casings from a black box,
Yes.
and 7633 was in reference to an assault on Charles Jones.
Yes.
Okay. You did grouping within each of those cases with the groups of shell casings that were submitted.
That is correct.
And in both cases, you had 223 and 5.56 NATO caliber shell casings,
That is correct.
which are all consistent with being fired from an AR-15 style rifle.
They're consistent with being fired in that style that's chambered for 5.56 NATO.
And you were able to identify them as being fired, one from each group within each of those cases is being fired by the same firearm?
Yes, I took one cartridge case from each screening group and was able to identify them together.
And you group them by caliber, 223 versus 5.56 NATO?
That's how they were labeled and identified in my item description, but they were all actually screened together, the 223s and the 5.56 within each case. All of them were screened together, and then I selected one representative cartridge case from each grouping and was able to identify them.
Okay. And then you took one from the shell casings from the black box and one from the shell casings from the assault on Charles Jones, and you compared them and you identified them as being fired by the same firearm.
That is correct.
Now, counsel asked you about eliminating the items that were submitted this year, the fired bullet jackets, the fired bullet jacket fragments, and we talked about those. In 7633, I believe, you're at TPD submissions.
7688.
88, I'm sorry, thank you. And you were able to eliminate all of those that had polygonal rifling on them from either of the rifles, either your 8 or 9,
That is correct.
right? Because those are conventionally rifled.
That is correct. Yes.
All right. And that was, using counsel's term, an objective determination.
Yes.
You didn't need to look at the individual characteristics.
That is
Is that
correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And the items that all the items that you saw that were submitted in this year in that 7688 report, and that's, I believe, 10 through 16 are your item numbers, basically?
I believe so, yes.
All right, with 16, 12, and 13 having several items within those.
That is
items.
correct.
Okay. You were able to determine with 2 of those, the caliber class as being a 38 caliber class.
Yes,
All right. And the rest of them, they were all grouped consistent with each other as polygonal rifling with rails, except 12G, which didn't have the rails, but could have been fired from a railed Glock.
yeah, that is a possibility, but yes, they were all screened together with those, probably with rails minus the 12G, which was just polygonal.
All of those are consistent with being fired from a Glock handgun.
Yes,
And they're all consistent. In fact, the ones with the rail would have to have been fired. If it's in a Glock, it's in a Glock Generation 5 or maybe a Generation 6.
yes, the barrel that is placed in a Generation 5 Glock is the ones with polygonal rifling
With the rails.
with the rails. Yes,
Right. And if they were fired at a crime scene in 2024, there was no Generation 6 at that time.
I do not believe so.
And that caliber class of those 2, that's completely different than the caliber class of the of your 8 and 9,
Yes,
the 5.56 NATO and the 300 Blackout.
that is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, council talked about a total. He basically took all of the submissions of, I think, from 7688, combined them all. Okay. You had the projectiles that came out of the victim's body from the pleural cavity and the chest wall. You identified one of those as a 22 5 millimeter, 22 5 millimeter caliber class, right?
That is correct.
Other than those 2, the rest of them were either identified as 38 caliber class, which would be consistent with 9 millimeter, or they are screened and grouped with 2 that are that caliber class.
That's correct, but the screened in group based on their rifling type.
Right, the polygonal with rails.
That's correct.
And all of those were eliminated from the 300 Blackout. The 2 that you recovered from the victim's body, one of which was a 22 5.56, that's a different caliber class than 300 Blackout.
That is correct.
And in fact, that's item 4. Your item 1 was also eliminated to the 300 Blackout based on a difference in class characteristics, correct?
That is correct.
Your item 4 and item 1, which again were identified as coming from portions of the victim's body, when you compare them to each other, they were inconclusive to each other, and they were inconclusive to the item 8 rifle, which is a 5.56 NATO chambered or caliber rifle, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And when you say inconclusive, that is not an elimination, right?
That's correct. An inconclusive is there was not enough detail to either identify or eliminate. I can't say anything otherwise other than there just was not enough detail here for me to work with.
And they certainly could have been fired out of that rifle.
They could have been, or they could not have been. Yeah,
And there's nothing to say they weren't.
correct.
You were not able to eliminate them.
Correct.
So, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but council kind of talked about it in the cross. I want to ask you about it. Because, well, when you made your comparisons of these the two items from the victim's body, item 1 and 4, you could exclude those, one on caliber class from the 300 blackout. The other one could be excluded on a different class characteristic from the blackout rifle, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. And you said they were inconclusive to the rifle. Now, when you made that comparison to, and I'm talking about the item 8, the 5.56 rifle, when you conduct that analysis, do you actually take that 5.56 Black Forge rifle, your item 8, right, our item 50, our exhibit 56, do you actually take that and test fire?
Yes, so when we receive a firearm in casework, we will take it to, we have an indoor range at our lab that we can take and shoot firearms in. And in order to collect projectiles, we shoot to what's called a water tank, which allows us to collect the bullets in a condition to allow us to do comparisons.
All right. So you're test firing it, you're collecting that bullet that has been preserved in water from being deformed or anything, correct?
That's correct.
Meaning it hasn't gone through glass or sheet metal or hit anything.
That's correct.
And you take precautions for that not to happen by firing it into that water tank?
Yes, that is the purpose of the water tank, is to try to minimize any damage that could occur to it, to have them in a more pristine condition in order to compare them.
And then you collect it and you take that as you know that's been fired in that rifle, and that's what you compare to the projectiles that were recovered from the victim's body 1 and 4.
That is correct, yes.
And that's when you're doing them next to each other on comparison microscope?
That is correct, yes.
Is that the proper term?
Yes,
Even though those rifles were submitted with test fires, you're not going to rely on the City of Tampa Police Department's test fires. You do your own to make sure you have a pristine bullet to do that.
yes, we shoot our own test fires.
And that's the process that you would have been able to go through if we had recovered a 9mm Glock pistol, correct?
Yes, I would have test fired that as well.
You were asked about the subjectivity of the identification procedure where you're looking for those individual characteristics. And you indicated, counsel asked you, you hold yourself to even a higher threshold than maybe other analysts?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. And you talked about viewing in your training thousands of projectiles that were recovered from a rifle and test firing,
Yes,
or from a pistol or other firearms.
that is correct, yes.
And then looking at those multiple ones that are fired from the same firearm.
Yep, we'll look at ones fired from the same firearm, from different firearms, from similar makes and models of firearms.
And you have received the training that you've testified about, and you've conducted thousands of comparisons during your career.
Yes, definitely.
And your training and your experience is what informs you in your opinions.
Yes.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you.
All right, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Free to go?
Thank you.
Okay, and before, you guys need to make sure, go ahead, you're good, Mr. Joe. So make sure the evidence is, everything's where it should be and it's repackaged. And the scissors. Okay, very good. So it's 12:20, so we'll go ahead and take our lunch break. We will reconvene, let's say 1:30. And just remember my previous instructions. Don't talk to anybody about this case. Read, watch, listen to any news and social media posts. And we'll see you back here at 1:30. All right, very good.
All right.
All my other stuff, all my other. Did you all get that stipulation hammered out?
Judge, we did, and it's signed, and I'll provide it to you if it can be read before we call our next witness.
Okay.
We'll introduce those two exhibits.
Yeah, we're stipulating to the photographs the state intends to introduce. Part of that, those exhibits as a rap song authored by Damian Murphy. We're objecting on the basis of relevance, that it goes back to 2001.
I'm sorry, what are you objecting to?
Just the written rap song,
2019.
2019, correct, goes back 6 years.
Okay, well, overall the objection. So with that though, you're stipulating that defendant Davion Murphy wrote the song, the rap song in State Exhibit 85 on April 19, 2019, correct?
Correct, but we're objecting on basis of relevance and that the staleness of it is not relevant to anything that occurred in 2025.
I understand that. I'll overrule that objection. So with that objection being overruled, you stipulated, correct?
Correct. We'll enter into that stipulation over our objection.
Okay. Very good. Okay, defendants are present, defense counsel's present, state's present, and all jurors are back. All right, let's bring them in.
All right. All jurors are in, Judge.
Okay, very good. Welcome back, everybody. We are ready to proceed. Before we get going, we have another stipulation. And again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, when lawyers agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact. You must accept stipulated facts as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide. In this case, the stipulated facts that you must accept as true are stipulation between the state of Florida and Davion Murphy regarding Davion Murphy's tattoos. It is hereby stipulated by and between the defendant Davion Murphy and the state of Florida that Davion Murphy obtained his tattoos, including the 1200 block tattoo, on his neck before January 15th of 2021. In addition, he wrote the rap song in State Exhibit 85 on April 19th of 2019. And the stipulation is signed by Michelle Doherty on behalf of the state, Mr. Nicholas Sonardi, attorney on behalf of Davion Murphy, and Davion Murphy himself. All right, with that, you may call your next witness.
The state would call Detective Craig Griffin. I'm not sure that you even want to fill out
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this house will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Good afternoon. You may proceed.
Sir, would you state your name for the record?
Detective Craig Griffin with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Gang Investigative Unit.
And I believe the last time we spoke about a vehicle stop of which you were a part of.
Yes, ma'am.
And who was the driver of that vehicle?
Mr. Sean Gathright.
If I could at this time have you identify Mr. Gathright in the courtroom, please.
Yes, ma'am. Standing over there with the, or sitting with the tan sweater at the first table.
If the record would reflect the identification.
The record shall so reflect.
Sir, how long have you been with the gang unit in Jacksonville?
A little over 5 years now.
In that time, have you been assigned to any particular gang itself?
Yes, ma'am.
And what gang is that?
Beginning, I started with CTC and then transitioned over to 1200 out east.
What do you mean transitioned?
So prior to me taking over, there was another detective assigned to him. He got promoted to the rank of supervisor. Once he left, I then took over the group known as 1200.
And did the group you had before and 1200, when you transitioned to that position, did it share members or have members that were a part of the first group that you had documented or were working?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you become familiar with any information that the prior detective had when you transitioned, your predecessor?
I worked alongside him on several cases, and we worked together on majority of the stuff in reference to 1200.
Do you all at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office maintain records with any documentation that you preserve for each of the gangs that you're assigned to?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are those records referred to as?
They're known as FIR or Field Investigative Reports.
Do you update those reports or keep logs or notes in some way when documenting specific gang members in Jacksonville?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, is that log something that is shared with the other officers of the gang unit or even the other officers in the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office?
Just through the reports, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And are you the point of contact for 1200 if there are questions about 1200 for any other officer in your agency?
Yes, ma'am.
How about outside of your agency?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the individual point of contact for any reference to or question about 1200?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we've heard a few times throughout the trial, 1200 and out east referred together. Can you explain just what that is, what the discrepancy is there?
Yes, ma'am. The original gang is referred to as out east, and then you have subsets within out east, and so they would be 1200 from the 1200 block of East First Street and APR.
Is that actually physically on the east side of Jacksonville?
Yes, it is.
And out east or 1200 in your investigations, have you learned many of its members are from out east?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have some kind of particularized training or experience in documenting or monitoring gangs?
Yes, ma'am.
And in your time with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, have you been assigned to different areas, even when you were with patrol?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had an opportunity to patrol the area out east?
No, ma'am. Prior to out east, I was assigned to the north side of Jacksonville, specifically 45th and Moncrief.
At 45th and Moncrief, did you become familiar with 6th Block?
Yes, ma'am.
How about the members of that group prior to it actually becoming 6th Block?
Yes, ma'am. Certain individuals.
And in working that area, were you familiar with some type of rivalry between 1200 and ATK and 6th Block?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an opportunity to respond to scenes related to incidents regarding both sides of the war?
Yes, ma'am.
After you were assigned to the gang unit, had it been already documented that 1200 was a gang?
Yes, ma'am.
And would a predecessor of yours have done that documentation?
That's correct.
What is required to document that a gang is a gang by law?
It would be under Florida State Statute 874, a group of 3 or more in which do criminal or delinquent acts.
And at the time that you actually subsumed or took over 1200, had that already been established?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time of the homicide of Charles Jones, was 1200 a documented gang still in Jacksonville?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had any particularized training or gone to conferences, maybe with the Gang Association or HIDA?
Yes, ma'am. Both.
And what kind of training do they provide?
Up-to-date gang training, specifically gang courses. We also learn about other gang investigations throughout the state of Florida. They have speakers come in from out of state that talk about their investigations into gangs. And other than you got the HIDA courses to include cell phone courses, cell site courses, social media investigations, search warrants, seizure warrants, all of the above.
And are illegal activities of the 3 or more members engaged in, at least in part, illegal activities, something that you can describe for us that you have seen in your time with investigating 1200?
Yes, ma'am. Specifically would be violent crimes to include murder, aggravated assault. Also, there's been several narcotics investigations to include the sale of marijuana, sale of cocaine, trafficking, and illegal narcotics.
Is it that all of the members of 1200 would be present when each of those offenses would occur, or is that members individually that can commit those offenses?
Both.
How do you attribute those criminal offenses to profiting or promoting the gang itself?
Both in which they profit from the drug sales and then use it to, I believe, make videos to either diss the other side, or it's in retaliation to making YouTube videos or online comments to speak upon the other side because of what they said or another death that had happened prior to them hurting or killing somebody else.
When those deaths actually occur, do you see subsequent to the death social media videos that are posted referencing it?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And is that what you mean by monetizing or profiting from those videos?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you also mention weapons offenses?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you made several arrests of members associating with each other regarding weapons offenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Were the weapons themselves possessed?
Correct.
And in those same instances, were those weapons utilized?
Yes, ma'am.
In this particular case, did you have an opportunity to review a chart of the associated persons for this investigation for the Tampa homicide of Charles Jones with 1200?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, Your Honor, the state would seek to admit State's Exhibit 84A.
Judge, subject to prior objection.
Okay, same. Sure. Any further objection? Okay, same, Mr. Petrides. All right, same, Mr. Wise. Okay, same ruling, be admitted.
Publishing 84A, sir, can you look over your, oh, actually, I've got it here for you. Is this fair and accurately representing the individuals in some way related to this particular investigation, at least as far as your involvement was concerned?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it include individuals who are documented 1200 members, or associates?
Yes, ma'am.
How is it that you go about documenting or undocumenting a specific member?
So in order to document, they have to meet 2 of the criteria listed in Florida State Statute 874. And then we fill out an FIR. In reference to undocumented members, there's a 5-year statute in which you have to, they're up for renewal or review at that time.
Is that a federal statute that Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has developed operating procedures to comply with?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure.
Is your practice to every 5 years determine whether to undocument or recertify?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And the records that you actually keep or maintain specific to each group, so for you individually, 1200, is that a practice or standard operating procedure that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has implemented?
Yes, ma'am.
Statutorily, though, is there a specific carve out for 1200?
No.
So the Florida statute that you have to review as far as gang documentation or qualification doesn't say anything specific about 1200
No, ma'am.
or any other gang to your knowledge.
No, ma'am.
In meeting the criteria for a criminal gang, as you've discussed, you said 3 or more individuals.
Yes, ma'am.
And is the delinquent activity that you mentioned or the commission of criminal acts also a requirement?
That is correct. Yes.
And what are some of the things that you look for that are common amongst individuals in making or documenting an actual gang itself?
We look at hand signs, specifically Instagram, social media, websites, YouTube videos, who they hang out with, style of dress, tattoos. There's a whole list, I want to say, of 11 items.
And of those 11 criteria, do you look to those criteria in order to actually document your reports, or your FIR report record?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you had an opportunity in this particular case to do so?
Yes, ma'am.
And in the FIR report, did you actually do so with an individual by the name of Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
In creating that documentation, do you still utilize the statute with the 11 criteria?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
And how many criteria are you actually required to prove up before the person can be a documented gang member?
The state statute only requires 2.
How many criteria did you actually prove up as it related to Rashad Murphy?
I believe he had 4.
And when you created these documentations, did you leave or annotate somewhere specifically what you utilized to say he met each criteria?
Yes, ma'am.
And would that have been from the date of June 23rd of 2024, at least within the last 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
What, as a part of the documentation that you had for Mr. Rashad Murphy, did you actually include in your FIR report, or did you specifically document?
In reference to that report, I took 3 YouTube videos, Active, We the Ops, and Flower Bed were 3 posted YouTube videos in which I observed Rashad Murphy in.
And did you also have an opportunity to slow down or create still images from those photos themselves?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also have an opportunity to review an FIR or records for an individual by the name of Davion Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you actually compare the criteria to your interactions with Mr. Murphy in January of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
During the course of an interview at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, did you observe some of the criteria occurring with Davion Murphy?
Yes, ma'am. I believe there was 2 of them that he met during the interview.
Just on that day alone?
Just on that day. Yes,
What
ma'am.
were those criteria?
He did the hand sign for 1200, and then also he has tattoos associated to 1200.
Did you indicate that you did in fact have an opportunity to review the videos that you utilized to document Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to those videos, did you have other information, whether it was you personally or through a fellow officer, about contacts with gang members?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did that include?
That included contacts to include Rashad Murphy with Noah Williams.
And who is Noah Williams?
He's a documented member of 1200.
Does he have a stage name?
He does. He goes by Spinabins.
And does Spinabins make music with someone related to him?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is that?
Reginald Williams, which would be his brother, aka Wappa with the Chopper Aducci.
Is Wappa with the Choppa a stage name for Mr. Reginald Williams?
Yes, it is.
And does Mr. Reginald Williams have a nickname on the street that's different than Wappa with the Choppa?
He goes by Ducci.
Now, in documenting 1200, was there a gang that's either that came before 1200 or that 1200 members were formerly known by?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the name of that?
187.
And do you have any reference from your investigation as to what 187 refers to?
In reference to my investigation, I believe the 187 refers to the California Penal Code to homicide or murder.
In the entirety of the time that you have had 1200, have you seen 187 utilized with documented 1200 members?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that typically related to one age group?
It would be the age group that Noah, Reginald, and Rashad are all associated with.
At this stage of the game, basically, is that the older guys in the group?
They would be classified as an older group now, yes.
And how is Cuckoo Gang related to 1200?
Cuckoo Gang is something that came shortly after 1200. Once a lot of members started going to jail and unfortunately losing their life to gang violence, they created a new group for the younger ones up underneath them.
So we heard about Six Block and Bully Gang and those kinds of subsets. Is this the same type of thing? 1200 will have subsets as well?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Did you indicate that there were 2 separate vehicle stops for which Rashad Murphy had been documented in the presence of other known gang members that were included in your FIR?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also have an opportunity to review or receive physical evidence as it related to the gang records for defendant Davian Murphy?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to show you this chart here. Can you tell me what the relationship as far as your work with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and 1200 was between ATK and 1200?
They would be considered friendly with each other.
In looking at the top left of your screen for Ducci and Spinabens, do you see the images there?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had an opportunity to see those individuals depicted in music videos with individuals from ATK in the bottom right?
Yes, ma'am.
And have the interactions that you have had either in person or seen on the internet been that they are aligned?
Yes, that is correct.
Did you also have an opportunity to see in the top left an individual by the name of J. or J. Breezy?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that individual a documented gang member?
He is, but I don't know for which gang. He's not currently documented as 1200. He might be documented as a Bloods member currently.
Did there come a time when J. Breezy had some kind of a falling out with his gang?
Yes, ma'am.
On social media. And as it stands on today's date, do we know what his status is and with which gang?
No, ma'am.
Do we know whether J. Breezy actually meets the statutory criteria for being a gang member, though?
Yes, ma'am. I believe he has tattoos, and then he's several videos he's seen throwing up hand signs.
And then also in the depiction on the left of 84A, do you recognize two other individuals by the name of Prosper Johnson and Deonta Holsey?
Yes, ma'am.
And are those individuals who have lost their life in Jacksonville?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Prosper Johnson have a nickname that he went by?
He went by just Prosper.
And did Deonta Holsey have a nickname?
He did. He went by either Tay or Junior.
Now, Joe Rod Spaz Adams, are you familiar with his death?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you familiar with who was convicted in his case?
I believe it was Robert Howard.
How about, and is that a 6-block member?
Yes, ma'am.
How about in the bottom right, Hakeem Robinson? Do you see that individual?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that someone who had recently pled guilty in the death of a 6-block member?
Yes, ma'am. He pled guilty to the murder of Bibby, which is Adrian Gaynor.
I'd like to take you back to the music videos. The first video I think that you mentioned was Active. Is that a video that you were able to see on the public YouTube channel?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an opportunity to review that music video in its entirety?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you able to document one or more 1,200 members in that music video?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an opportunity to do the same for the song that you mentioned, Flower Bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And lastly, did you have an opportunity to do the same for We the Ops?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
In reviewing those videos, did you testify that you frequently screenshot them or take still images from them?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
And in those videos, did you have an opportunity to see hand signs or gang signs?
Yes, ma'am.
How about other items that met the statutory criteria?
Yes, ma'am. It would have been, I believe, style of dress.
Meaning the clothing?
Correct.
And how about associations amongst each other?
Yes, ma'am. There were other documented members in the YouTube videos.
At this time, Your Honor, the state seeks to admit States Exhibit 137A through C and 114A through B as a composite with their stills.
137 AC and 114.
A, B, and C.
Okay.
A and B are 1 through 9, and C is 1 through 13.
Okay, very good. Mr. Gonzalez, any objections?
Subject to prior objection, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Sonardi? Okay, Mr. Wise
Same, Your Honor.
and Mr. Petratus. Okay, they'll be admitted.
Sir, speaking specifically about your documentation of defendant Rashad Murphy, did you have an opportunity to document several images in the music video Active of Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it that we're looking at here, please?
We looking at the opening scene of the video.
Were these individuals depicted on the opening scene of the video present for the rap song itself?
Yes, ma'am.
And are the videos that we are about to see considered drill rap as it relates to your investigations?
Yes, ma'am.
What is drill rap?
Drill rap is a type of music in which individuals rap about either going on to hurt somebody or somebody that has been killed. It's a very violent type of music in which it's put out. I believe it originally came from Chicago, came down to Florida and caught fire, and it took off from there.
And is it prolific in Jacksonville?
Yes, ma'am.
As awful as it is, does it provide significant amounts of information to your agency?
It does. Yes, ma'am.
Can you identify any of the individuals specifically in this particular photograph?
Yes, ma'am. The gentleman in the back holding the shirt with the red X is Deshaun Williams. I believe that's Noah Williams on taking a knee. And the gentleman in the back his name's Creep. I'm unsure. I want to say Dominic Williams. That's his name.
Is this or are these three images and 114 still images from that music video of Active?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there specific images, at least on the top of this particular screen, which you documented?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there an individual depicted in those stills as a reason that you documented those in Rashad Murphy's report?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you could just describe the individual that you documented.
It's a gentleman in the middle with the braids it'd be the left hand.
If you would just
Photo.
stand, it might be easier because there's three.
Yeah, why don't
pictures
you
on this
stand
one.
and point?
Oh, where we at here? Okay. Oh, then this gentleman, Rashad.
And you utilized these stills in order to document Mr. Rashad Murphy's presence in this Active video.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking at the still image to the top right, do you see the hands above Mr. Murphy's head?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And what is being depicted there?
So it's actually a diss sign to the north side or 6th block. It's a handgun pointed towards the 6 hand symbol.
And at the bottom of your screen there with Mr. Creep,
That would be the same.
is it common or uncommon to see these hand signs utilized by 1,200 members?
It's not uncommon.
And were these depictions, some of the depictions utilized in this circumstance from April 3rd of 2020 when Active was posted?
That's
as
correct.
documented time of contact with known gang associates.
Yes, ma'am.
In 114, did you also have an opportunity to document hand signs utilized by the individual you documented for Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
And could you describe for us what those hand signs were?
The middle hand sign is another diss to the 6. As you can see, he's making the 6 hand sign, and then the thumbs down to follow up the 6 hand sign.
And now, if the order of hand signs in the music video are K, 6, and the thumbs down, does that mean anything to you?
Correct. That'd be 6 killer or kill 6, and then man down with the thumbs down.
Have you seen a thumbs down in your investigation of 1,200?
Yes, ma'am.
And has there been any relationship or link to bully down or down signs for the bully gang?
Correct.
Instead of 6 block?
It's the same reference. With the thumbs down is death diss to somebody that has died.
Is that the same as what we've heard about as putting the upside down 6 or the other hand signs down, even 1,200 sign down?
Correct. It's still a diss.
Now, you also mentioned clothing. If we can look again at these stills from 114A, were the individuals depicted in the music video wearing clothing that you documented?
Yes, ma'am.
What is 187 Boys? Is that something you had seen?
Yes, ma'am. So that was the group prior to 1200. They were known as 187. And so 187 Boys, the group as a whole.
And is Free Shoot 'em on the bottom there, is that related to the name or is that something else?
They might be doing a shout out to somebody that's locked up. I'm unsure who Shoot 'em is.
But that's not related to the overall name that the group went by.
No, ma'am.
How about the shirt to the left of the screen here as well?
So in the shirt, it's actually another diss sign to the North Side gang known as 6 Block. They have rest and piss and then an X out of the shirt of Foolio, depiction of Foolio, aka Charles Jones.
And did you have an opportunity in 137 to actually view the entirety of the Active music video?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. You can take those.
Take it down, that happened. Look how they call up baby, I'm laughing. Look how they call Trey D, they smoke. Them bust that Tico shit wide open. Bro, inside, no joking. Throw your bitch, nigga, everybody knows. Shit, he knows. Shit, she knows. Mama know too, shit, part of the war. Even what's going? He said, no, he ain't gonna stop for the boys. Fans got strikes out the limb in the soup, but the beef when we eat when we dine on the course. Never get fucked up the road, and I know it. Take
gangsters like this.
Sir, were there specific references in your analysis of the active music video to the victim in this particular case, Fools, Charles, or Six?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you document from this specific video itself contacts that Rashad Murphy would have had with other gang members?
Correct.
Can you identify the other certified gang members from that video alone? Were there any in addition to Reginald and Noah Williams and Creep?
It would also have been Deshaun Williams, aka Greenlight.
And that would have been an incident of a contact or association with known gang members?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are Noah Williams and Reginald Williams, Waka Waka Choppa, and Spinna Benz?
Correct.
And are they probably the most viewed artists from 1200 in Jacksonville on YouTube if you're looking at views?
Them and Greenlight, I would add in that list also.
But pretty popular.
Yes, ma'am.
And as it relates to these videos themselves, is there something that you get out of the fact that the defendant Rashad Murphy is not depicted rapping in the videos? Does it change your analysis of whether he's present or associating with other gang members?
No, ma'am.
Is it required in your documentation for any member to be actively a part of the music video by way of rapping?
No, ma'am.
Is the association from the music video in itself sufficient?
Yes, ma'am.
How about the utilization of hand signs or gang signs?
Same.
On June 27th of 2020, did you have an opportunity to also see an additional video called Flower Bed and document that video?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that video documented in relation to Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a nickname that Rashad Murphy is known by?
Yes, ma'am. Ghost 187.
And is there a phrase or a term that has been utilized without the numbers of just Ghost?
Just Ghost.
In this particular image that we're seeing on the screen, 114B, do you recognize these opening credits?
Yes, ma'am.
And do these accurately reflect the opening credits for the song Flower Bed?
That's correct.
Despite the screen saying Flower Beds, is it posted to the internet singular?
Correct.
Okay. And are we seeing the name of the individuals who are actually, again, rapping?
Yes, ma'am.
During the course of this video, is there any kind of audio directly linked to Rashad Murphy?
No.
Is there a reference or portions of this video which were documented in reference to the gang documentation for Rashad Murphy on this particular date?
Yes, ma'am.
And was this on a date separate and apart from the original date
Correct.
of active?
It's different from the date of active.
Did you have an opportunity to take stills from the images in Flower Bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And is there an individual in particular, and if you need to stand, please do so, that you documented from Flower Bed and included in the gang documentation for Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
Please identify that individual by utilizing the screen.
So you have Caleb Howard, you have Noah Williams, you got Malik Bills, and then also Rashad Murphy.
Has Malik Beals been killed?
Yes, ma'am. He went by the name Leaky. He has since lost his life due to gang violence.
So is any reference to a long-lived Leaky? Have you seen that before?
Everywhere.
And does that have any relevance or significance in your investigations?
Yes, ma'am, because oftentimes the opposing side 6 block would make diss records towards Leaky.
Or say the name Leaky in their songs?
Correct.
We say records, so I want to make sure of the YouTube videos.
Yes, ma'am.
And the individuals that you've identified, are they certified gang members or documented? I know it's not certified. Documented gang members in Jacksonville.
Documented gang members or associates.
And have you utilized this video for Rashad Murphy's gang documentation and his association with other known gang members?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there different, I don't want to say vantage points, but I guess different places that this video was shot?
Yes, ma'am.
Are these 3 depictions on the screen additional images that you documented from the Flower Bed video as it relates to the documentation for Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
And lastly, this location for this music video was Rashad Murphy's documentation reflected from something in these?
Yes, ma'am.
Who are the other members, if any, depicted that you have not already identified?
You have Reginald Williams, still Rashad Murphy, and then Deshaun Williams in the background.
And did you have an opportunity to review this video in its entirety?
Yes, ma'am.
I was running out of booty, so I started smoking eight had crack with them bitch when I blast from the cat. They don't never make you strap until it's fucking birthday. You don't never fucking scrap cause you know it's fucking straight. We had so many times they told me do the ease up. I put them in front of back and make them throw the bees up. I guess the nigga tried to run, I had it from the knees up. Now I had to wait that heater, but that nigga freeze up. I told you what I seen, bitch, you won't believe what I was trying to run so fast, I make the nigga leave. They can't go out in the eye, I guess they shot the trees up. Make the time home, stay the house, nigga sleep up. What you say, bitch, nigga? That's the type of shit that gets your ass killed. Nigga, understand on your man, you ain't fucking real. Nigga, all that sleeping on that block and get your ass built. Nigga, get your ass stripped. Nigga, what you talking about my car? We know where you live. Nigga, why you acting like a gangster? That ain't where you live. Nigga, back in school, you was a bitch, so you still live. Nigga, they make construction workers, all we do is hurt. Nigga, baby, don't you wanna fall with that 18, nigga? All that money in the car, that get your ass beat, nigga. You get killed for playing that option, you ain't gotta be with us. You got the nigga come outside of that and let it be, nigga. All you niggas who dead, you can go and sleep with them. Ain't too long, get away before you have a beat with him. Cracker in the hospital, let me still can't see nigga. He keep taking all these shots, we got on the page, nigga. I'm a hard stopper, but I drop a catch a off, and you know I shot him. You know how I'm running, and I come up with a charge, cause the way these niggas die. I done ran up my 10, all these bitches looking hard. For this bitch, I keep a calling, I can't be your baby father, baby. I've been trapping crazy, bitch, my shit look like the car. I ain't drinking out no cup, bitch, I'm drinking out the bar. I need me a boozy bitch, baby girl, I need a malt.
Detective in Flower Bed, was there a reference to 187?
I believe so.
Was there a reference to opposing gang victims?
Correct.
And was this music video and the date and time listed in Flower Bed also documented as a part of Mr. Murphy's FIR report?
Yes, ma'am.
Lastly, for music videos, did you have an opportunity to review a music video called We the Ops?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, was that by the same artists?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, in this particular video, is there any portion in which Mr. Rashad Murphy is actually rapping that you can hear or see?
No, ma'am.
Did you utilize this video to document additional contacts?
Yes, ma'am.
And did this video happen on or was this video posted on a separate date as the other two videos that we have just seen?
That's correct.
I'm showing you 114. What is this?
The opening scene to We the Ops.
Is there anything specific about the individual or the hand that's depicted in this screen?
Yes, ma'am. That is, I believe, Rashad Murphy's right hand because of the star tattoo that's on his forearm.
Did you have an opportunity to take still images from We the Ops that you utilized in your documentation of Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
In 114, can you describe for us who was depicted, if you can identify Mr. Murphy and or any additional gang members?
Yes, ma'am. You have Rashad Murphy, you have Reginald Williams, Noah Williams, and then Deshaun Williams over here.
Is that the green line individual?
Yes, ma'am.
Certified gang members?
Yes, ma'am. Documented members.
Now, what is it that we're looking at here, please?
It's Rashad. It's a disc to the 6 with a firearm in his hand, and then that's another disc to the 6 as well. He's doing the 6 hand sign, but with his right hand.
Is the 6 down?
Yes, ma'am.
And does Mr. Murphy utilize those hands to put the gun at the 6?
That's correct.
Is that what we're seeing on the still image on the screen here?
Yes, ma'am. Same image.
Were there again separate locations at which this video was filmed?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are we seeing on the image in the left-hand side of the screen, please?
The left-hand side shows a gentleman in a ski mask holding a firearm, pointing it at the 6 block hand symbol with also the 18 shirt on. And then you have Rashad with a firearm pointing it at the 6 hand symbol.
Are these common depictions that you see during the course of your investigations of the group 1200?
Yes, ma'am.
And paired with the lyrics of the songs or your contacts and your investigative work, is this meant to be a message to 6 block?
Yes, ma'am.
Lastly, in this particular image, is there anyone that you have not already identified as a gang member or known gang associate?
No, ma'am. We've already identified everybody.
The individual that you had previously identified and documented as Rashad Murphy from this video doing some type of a handshake or sign with the individual you previously identified as Green Light.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that what's depicted here at this portion of the video?
That's correct.
Are you actually able to replicate that hand sign or that handshake, excuse me, in any way?
No, ma'am. Even I've tried slowing it down and seeing what they do, but I was unable to do it.
Have you commonly seen that kind of like hand shake in the air utilized by 1,200 members?
Not too many times. I've seen that less than I've seen them doing the common normal 1,200 hand sign.
What's the common normal 1,200 hand sign?
Where they throw it up.
And is the 1,200 sign itself identifiable to you when you're watching videos?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we saw several individuals putting up a 6 with their hands. Is there any question in your mind that Noah Williams is 1,200 instead of 6 block?
It's not. No, there's no question that he's 100%.
He's not a 6 block member.
No, ma'am.
But do you see often the use of the opposing side signs?
Yes, ma'am. Just to make fun, make a diss, point a gun at it.
And in that same video, if you saw or documented a K and then a 6, a K with your hand and then a 6, is that indicative of something?
Yes, ma'am. Of 6K, which would be 6 block killer.
Did you, over the course of your time in the gang unit, have an opportunity to respond to Rashad Murphy's arrest location?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
And at the initial time of your response, had Mr. Murphy been taken into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me take
No,
that back.
he wasn't
Based on
in
the-
the custody. It was a SWAT standoff. They were trying to get him out of the apartment.
So were you standing nearby but not involved with SWAT actually entering?
Correct.
Did you have an opportunity to review the footage from that standoff itself?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about the observations that you made from outside of that building as it related to what was being done to extract Mr. Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state seeks to admit States Exhibit 144A and 119.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Sonardi, any objection? And Mr. Wise and Mr. Petratus. Okay, they'll be admitted.
Sir, can you show us what we're looking at here in 144B?
So we're looking at the apartment in which Rashad Murphy was held up in. We have it surrounded by SWAT, and at this point in time, they would be giving verbal commands, loud announcements for Rashad to come out of the house with his hands up.
Were the announcements made on some kind of device or just by shouting?
No, ma'am. They were made over a megaphone.
And over a term of minutes or hours?
We were out there for hours that day.
At some point after the bright lights are used, or is there a machine utilized to break a window?
Yes, ma'am. Our SWAT team utilized some kind of construction machinery to come around and destroy a window to put a incendiary device inside to make Rashad come out.
In addition to flashbangs, was smoke also used to try to get Mr. Rashad Murphy out of the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize Exhibit 119?
Yes, ma'am. It's an infrared view of the apartment.
And at this point in the evening, had a device rolled in or some kind of truck rolled in to utilize an arm to break this side's window?
Correct. That would have been the construction equipment, which our SWAT team uses.
Publishing 119. Is the vehicle at the bottom center of the screen also a SWAT vehicle?
Yes, ma'am. It's an armored vehicle in which they were ready to make contact should Rashad Murphy had came out of the apartment.
Other surveillance items that were utilized, did they include drones?
That is correct.
So I'm just going to speed this up just slightly. At the 109 mark, restarting. Is that machine used to break out the window on this side of the structure?
Yes, ma'am. So it breaks the window, and then at the end of the boom, there's an incendiary device in which they will ignite, and it'll fill the apartment full of a clear out and a bunch. You'd have to ask SWAT what they use, but it's pretty potent.
Based on your observations, does SWAT use masks of some type before they actually enter apartments that this has been utilized in, the smoke?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is ultimately close to the conclusion of this incident, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Shortly after this was ignited inside the apartment, Mr. Murphy, there was contact made.
And you had, I think we heard prior testimony, but the law enforcement agencies had at least been there trying to extract him since approximately 5 p.m.?
If not before, we were there when the sun was out, and we didn't leave until nighttime.
And did the still in 144A fairly and accurately represent the style of dress that the members that were attempting to extract Mr. Murphy were in?
Yes, ma'am. That's our SWAT team.
In addition to the mechanism that you mentioned that rode up to the window to break it and utilize the smoke, were there also other techniques used?
Yes, ma'am.
All of those prior to the smoke, though, were unsuccessful?
Correct. They tried using announcement. They used just smoke to send inside the house. I believe they used clear out, which is another form of gas that's hard to inhale. None of those worked. And then finally, they're decided on this option.
The image that we saw in the slide prior to this, though, was some kind of infrared, correct?
Correct.
Lastly, does ultimately Mr. Murphy surrender to law enforcement?
He does. He comes out with a dog and a Bible in his hand.
And does this fairly in 144C fairly and accurately represent when Mr. Rashad Murphy actually came out of the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And was he taken into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he cooperative in that process?
At that point, he was.
And was he transported to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for an interview?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you present for the interview of Rashad Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that occur on July 30th?
That's correct.
I'm showing you what's previously been admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 116. Do you recognize yourself in these images?
Yes, ma'am.
And do they fairly and accurately represent Mr. Rashad Murphy on the date that he was interviewed by you and Detective Krabeck?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an opportunity to observe Rashad Murphy's person at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you all provide this covering, or is that how Mr. Murphy arrived?
No, ma'am. We provided it. He said he was cold, so we provide blankets.
Did you have an opportunity to compare the image that's depicted in State's Exhibit 116 to the music video from We the Ops in documenting Mr. Murphy's tattoo?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a face covering that was utilized by the individual in We the Ops with these clothing?
During that time, yes, ma'am.
And did you utilize this to confirm that individual's identity?
I believe it to be one and the same.
Did you also have an opportunity to see social media posts in this case, State's Exhibit 110, that were extracted after the homicide of Charles Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
The account of Ghost 187, was that previously attributed to Mr. Rashad Murphy based on the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office's investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an opportunity to see these posts?
Yes, ma'am.
When Prosper and Junior's G-Day Today 187 Babies image was depicted, was there anything of significance in that post to you?
The reference to the 187 and then Prosper and Tay, or Prosper and Junior.
Is Tay Deonta Holsey the individual you've already identified from the chart?
Correct, aka Junior.
Were those two individuals killed on the same day
Yes, ma'am.
by the father of someone related to this case?
They were, I believe, died by the hands of Gino Norris.
Would that have been Gino Norris Sr. or Gino Norris Jr.?
I believe it was Senior.
And do you know what the result of that case or investigation was?
I don't. I believe it was justifiable homicide.
But not certain. Can't be certain.
Not certain. No, ma'am. Not certain.
How about the reference to 187 Babies?
187 Babies will go back to the 187 Boys, in which the younger version of Rashad, Noah, Reginald, when they were all coming up, that would have been around the same time Prosper and Tay were around.
What does R5L 187 Boys 5L RIP Dem Members mean?
In my professional opinion, I believe he might have fat fingered it instead of he put 5L instead of putting 4L. So there, if he did mean to put 5L, I have no idea what 5L means. But if you read it as 187 Boys 4L, which is for life, RIP to the members.
And is members any reference to any particular group?
Would be the 187 Boys.
Now, we talked a bit about Mr. Davian Murphy. Was there physical evidence that you indicated that you had an opportunity to review linked to Mr. Davian Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that include a handwritten letter that, I believe, I'm not sure if you were present, but we've heard a stipulation from the court about a handwritten letter. Did you have one of those to review?
Yes, ma'am.
And State's Exhibit number 85, at this time, Your Honor, the state would seek to admit based on that stipulation.
Okay, any objection? Okay, all right, will be admitted.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 85. Mr. Davian Murphy
Is it
wrote
85 or 185? 85.
85.
Okay.
Wrote this letter. Sir, can you describe for me what, if any, significance or relevance there was to you, particularly in the message in the bottom right of the letter?
Yes, ma'am. So he mentions the gentleman known as Prosper, who lost his life, and then also a gentleman by the name of Bink. Bink is also known as Suge, which is also known as Avery McKnight.
And by Avery, is Avery McKnight the legal name of Suge?
F. Suge, yes, ma'am.
And is Avery McKnight the legal name of Bink?
Correct.
And is that someone who was killed?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also have an opportunity to review tattoos that Mr. Murphy had on his person,
Which Murphy?
Davian Murphy had on his person on January 15th of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
The state would seek to admit based on the stipulation 127P, actually 127A through Z, I apologize.
Other than previously made objections, any objection, Ms. Timmy? Okay, admitted.
Publishing 127P. Can you talk to us a little bit about those tattoos dated January 15th of 2021?
Yes, ma'am. So on the chest of Mr. Davion Murphy, you have a photo of Avery McKnight, aka Suge, and then 12/3 of 15. That is when Mr. McKnight unfortunately lost his life to gang violence. You have Corbin J, which is Corbin Johnson. He was also murdered in Jacksonville. And then I believe that is it. I'm unsure who Doug M or Curtis B is.
And did the opposing op 6 Block rap about Suge or Avery McKnight?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they rap about Corbin Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also have an opportunity to observe Detective Meter photographing and observe the photographs that were depicted or taken that Detective Meter took on January 6th of 2025 after Mr. Murphy had been arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that arrest come several months after the remaining defendants?
That's correct.
And were you abreast of the information or the images that were depicted?
Yes, ma'am.
The state seeks to publish State's Exhibit number 69A through M.
Okay,
Sir, can you see the images before you?
Yes, ma'am.
If we could start left to right, please, in 69A, can you see the tattoo depicted there?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the individual depicted based on the overalls from these photographs, Davian Murphy?
That's correct.
And what is the significance of the image on the left?
On the left, it says "Rest Up, Avery McKnight."
And do you see tattoos or document tattoos of fallen members of criminal gangs in your day-to-day activity?
Yes, ma'am.
When you see people who have died tattooed on 1,200 members, are you documenting that?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it required to document a tattoo under the statute or in your work only if it says, 1,200 member?
That would qualify as one of the, I would call it a predicate up underneath it, because of the 11 items under 874, that is one of them,
Is having tattoos.
is having tattoos.
Does the tattoo have a requirement as to what it has to say?
No, ma'am.
So you would document fallen members if tattooed on a person's body when you're looking at whether they meet the statutory criteria.
Correct.
In this instance, did the tattoos that you observed in these images meet the statutory criteria as it relates to Davian Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
In the right side of the image here, do you see anything of relevance?
Yes, ma'am.
In what in the right image or 69C are we looking at?
Long live Jacoby J. Wright. And then also there's a 323 below his ear as well.
Is that of some relevance to you?
Yes, ma'am. So that's a 323 it stands for CTC. That would have been something that would have happened while he was in prison.
Is 320C a reference to the alphabet?
Correct.
Right. And what group did you have in Jacksonville assigned to you before 1200?
CTC.
Now, in looking at the images depicted here in State 69, what, if any, significance was the image in the center of the neck?
It says 1200 block.
And was there some relevance to you, and did you document that in your records?
Correct.
1200 block, is that an area of Jacksonville out east?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you seen this tattoo before in documenting gang members?
Yes, ma'am.
How about the image on the right side of your screen?
The right side on his top of his hand, it says Suge.
Is Suge Avery McKnight, as you've already described to us?
Yes, ma'am.
Are these additional images that were taken from Mr. Davian Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
On the left shoulder and arm or bicep of Mr. Davian Murphy, was there another tattoo?
Yes, ma'am. There's a tattoo of which it says Joe Rod.
And was that of relevance to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there also a picture above the tattoo itself?
Yes, ma'am. That's a picture of Joe Rod, aka Spaz.
And is that Joe Rod Adams?
That's correct.
Is that the same individual you previously identified had been killed at the Rains High School shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that by Robert Howard, 6 block member?
Yes, ma'am.
On the left side of the abdomen of Mr. Davian Murphy, did you document additional images?
Yes, ma'am.
What images did you document there?
The Forever Suge Knight Jr.
Could you point to us what you're reading or how you're seeing that and where?
Yes, ma'am. At the top it has Forever, and then at the bottom it has Suge Knight Jr. wrapped around.
And did you document anything on the photo on the right?
No, ma'am.
Now, during the course of Mr. Davian Murphy's interview, did you have an opportunity to review that footage?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an opportunity to see the footage of him in the interview room independent of anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Did at some point during the course of that time by himself in the room, Mr. Murphy, Davian Murphy, throw any kind of sign or hand sign that you are familiar with?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that hand sign with his middle fingers down?
Yes, correct.
And what did that hand sign represent?
Is the 1200 hand sign.
I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 118. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you document as a part of, or make note as a part of Mr. Davian Murphy's gang documentation or record that he had made this hand sign on the state?
That's correct.
Moving along to the evidence that has been previously admitted as it relates to Isaiah Chance, did you have an opportunity to review the social media information that came back as after Charles Jones's homicide?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that on a return from an Instagram account?
That's correct.
In 87C8, did you make any note of anything?
Yes, ma'am. In the screen, Isaiah is holding up the 1200 hand sign.
Now, is Isaiah Chance at this time someone that you had documented as a 1200 gang member?
No, ma'am.
Does the statute documenting gang members require you statutorily to prove up the actual gang itself?
No, ma'am.
Did you make note of the fact that Isaiah Chance had utilized the 1200 gang sign?
Yes, ma'am.
In 126D, was that sign also represented on an extraction with Isaiah Chance utilizing that hand sign?
Yes, ma'am. He using it with his right hand, and he's also with a known 1200 member, Darius, aka Baby Coop, and then Little Bug in the middle, Daryl Bryant, which is a 1200 POI.
And did you make note of this?
Yes, ma'am.
Did something in March of 2024 occur called an Out East reunion?
Yes, ma'am.
And lastly, 87C22 and C7. Do you see the two images depicted here?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an opportunity to document what, if any, relevance these two images had?
More of the 1200 hand sign.
All of which documented or recorded as in the return from the Instagram from Gutazay or Isaiah Chance.
Yes, ma'am.
As it specifically relates to an individual by the name of Sean Gathright, did you have anybody by the name of Sean Gathright documented as a 1200 member?
No, ma'am.
Did you have an opportunity to see a still from a video taken or extracted from the device information from Sean Gathright, an iCloud account?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And did you have an opportunity to make note of an image that was depicted from that still in 94D6?
Yes, ma'am. He's showing the 1200 hand sign.
Now, the 1200 hand sign, as I have understood it, was to put down the middle finger. Have you, in your investigations, seen the use of the middle finger or the ring finger utilized?
Yeah, so you want to read it from left to right. And so that's why when you decide which hand to put it up with, you'll see and read it differently.
Is that completely consistent all across all 1200 gang members, or are different techniques utilized for different members?
Different techniques for different members.
So have you seen in the course of your investigation of 1200 members, 1200 gang members utilizing only their middle finger down in all of their posts?
Correct.
Have you had an opportunity to see 1200 gang members utilizing the middle finger down on one hand and the ring finger down on the other, so that it clearly depicts to you 12 and 12?
Correct.
So 1 and 2, 1 and 2.
Correct.
Did you have an opportunity to see a video which has been previously admitted in this case as 131, or stills from a video called Psychin' Out?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was that by?
J. Breezy or Ja'Cory Rivers.
On June 24th of 2024, when this video was posted, was Mr. Ja'Cory Rivers affiliated to 1200?
Yes, ma'am.
And in reviewing that video, was Mr. Ja'Cory Rivers pictured with another 1200 member?
Yes, ma'am. Noah Williams, aka Spinabins.
And did Noah Williams utilize the option that you've just talked to us about, which is one middle finger down and one ring finger down instead of both middle fingers down to make it 1200?
That's correct.
Is this in 131E a still image of that in use?
Yes, ma'am.
But in seeing a 1200 member throw up the number 12 to you or the sign of 1200 to you, are you able to document that as the use of a hand sign or a gang sign?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also have an opportunity to see a video that had been posted by Spinabins and Wappa with the Choppa called Foolio Dead?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that come before or after the homicide of Charles Jones?
After.
Your Honor, at this time, the state seeks to admit State's Exhibit 133A through D.
Okay, any objection, Mr. Gonzalez?
No new objections, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Toomey, any new objections? Mr. Wise, any new objections? Sure. Mr. Petrides? Okay, admitted.
Sir, did you have an opportunity to review stills from Foolio Dead?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you document in that video anything of at least significance for you, not necessarily for the defendants in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing, or permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yep.
In 133A through D, are these the opening credits to that song, Foolio Dead?
Correct.
Were there any references in this song to the death of Charles Jones?
Yes, ma'am. In the opening scene, they have the photo of a Holiday Inn Express in which Mr. Charles Jones was ultimately murdered at.
And the name of Foolio, is that readily identifiable to you as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Are Spinabins and Wappa with the Choppa individuals that were also depicted in the 3 music videos we've already seen here today?
Yes, ma'am.
And was this still image from 133B taken from that Foolio Dead video?
Yes, ma'am.
What, if any, significance is the gun pointed at a Don Julio bottle in your 1200 investigation?
So it's a diss to 6 Block, specifically Julio Foolio, with the name on the bottle being Don Julio, and then a firearm pointed at the bottle itself.
Did you see a significant uptick in the use of Don Julio bottles in the music videos after Charles Jones was murdered?
You've seen a big uptick in the sale or viewing of Don Julio after the death of Mr. Charles Jones.
What does it mean to put a tag or a bag on someone's head?
To put money up, similar to like a hit to pay for murder for hire.
And what about putting a bottle of Don Julio on someone's head?
To do that, you're celebrating the death of that individual.
When you had an opportunity to review this video as well, did you also see another depiction of the disrespect towards the 6 symbol?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that what we're seeing here in States 133D?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I have one moment?
Yes.
And then lastly, sir, did you have the opportunity to attend an interview room that Mr. Sean Gathright had been interviewed in?
Yes, ma'am.
And on the date of that interview, was the room itself audio and video recorded?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Did you have an opportunity to see and speak with an individual by the name of Sean Gathright?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And had you advised Mr. Gathright that he had been placed under arrest for the homicide of Charles Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Did the audio and video recording from inside of that interview room capture some moments with Sean Gathright after he had been advised of that information?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state seeks to admit State's Exhibit 123.
All right, other than previous objections, any further objection, Mr. Wise?
No,
Okay, any objection, Mr. Gonzalez,
no, Your Honor.
Mr. Sonardi,
No new objection.
Mr. Petrides? Okay.
Your Honor, may we have one moment, please?
Yes. Tell you what, while you guys are doing this, let's just take a quick 5-minute break, okay? All right, you guys can step in the jury room.
All rise.
Hold on, I need a prosecutor up here.
I am now publishing State's Exhibit 123.
Out. Let me out, bro. Let me out, bro. Let me out.
Sit in that chair and don't move.
Sir, what is on the ceiling of that interview room?
Ceiling tiles, and then the roof, it's unable to get out from that way.
And have you also had an opportunity to have to play music in the course of your interviews based on the aged construction of that building and that room itself?
Yes, ma'am.
I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez?
I'll do it right now.
Bear with me a minute, detective.
Yes, sir.
Detective, regarding the arrest of Rashad Murphy on July 30th in Jacksonville, that we saw that clip of the apartment complex. As you arrived and during the time you were there, he wasn't armed, was he?
Not that I know of, no, sir.
And you're not aware of any weapons or any guns, weapons of any kind in the apartment before he came out, correct?
It was unknown at the time.
Well, unknown at the time, and obviously you're not aware of anything being found in there that would indicate that he was armed, correct?
Correct.
And he didn't, while he was there, he didn't make any threats to anyone in any respect, did
No,
he?
sir.
Do you know if there was any communication with him by telephone or otherwise while he was inside?
At a certain point in time, we had hostage negotiators come out. They attempted to make contact with him. Now, whether they did or did not make contact with him, I do not know.
Do you have any idea whether he was going through any kind of a mental health episode in terms of him being in there and not wanting to come out?
I don't know.
There were no other people in there that were at risk. And when you talk about hostage negotiators, you're not suggesting that there was he was in there and there was someone that could have been deemed a hostage?
No, sir. We contact hostage negotiators to come in and try to calmly speak to people to have them come out so it wouldn't escalate to anything worse than what it could have been.
Understand. You're aware that about 3 or 4 weeks prior to that, he was detained in Gwinnett County, correct?
Correct.
And were you aware that when,
Overall, you can ask, and if he knows, he knows. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Okay.
understood. So you are aware of his arrest in Gwinnett County, correct?
Correct.
Were you aware that he was tased in that incident?
Yes, sir.
And were you aware that he was tased when he was down on the ground in his private area, correct?
I know he was tased in his private area. I don't know when that occurred.
Were you aware that he had a gun pointed on his temple while
Yes,
he
sir.
was down on the ground?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware that there was also a gun on him as he exited the vehicle?
I was unaware of that.
How about, were you aware as part of that struggle that he had separated his shoulder, had to go to the hospital for medical care?
No, sir. I didn't know.
So, Detective, you started in the gang unit as it relates to your responsibility with 1200, beginning with, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean it with any disrespect, understudying the 1200 detective before he moved on, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you worked a couple of cases with him as you acclimated to this gang assignment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that would have been between January and June was this murder. So a matter of 4 or 5 months, you were the gang investigator for 1200, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at this particular time, I know you mentioned 1200 had already been established and designated as a gang.
Yes, sir.
During this early part of that transition, you were also still in the midst of your responsibilities with the other gangs you were transforming out of.
Yes, sir.
And during the normal everyday course and scope of these investigations, you mainly, in an attempt to increase your information, your sources, your understanding, you rely very heavily on social media, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, Spaces, Reddit. Any of the social media platforms are a really critical part to you gaining information, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that would be coupled also with field type interviews and discussion on the street with either named or unnamed people, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you do so, and you utilize this as the main focal point in your understanding, you're going to have to trust, or you're going to have to, inclusive of what you utilize, know that these people that are posting, they may not be posting things that are true, correct?
Yes, sir. That's a possibility.
Okay. And you're going to have a difficult time, a majority of this time, corroborating things. You're just listening and you're taking it and putting it into your brain and on paper for future use, correct?
Correct. Check but verify.
Not knowing and not being able to, on a lot of these times, verify something from sources other than what you hear and what you see on social media, correct?
Correct.
And when you started with 1200, you started looking at social media for various different alleged members or people that had been documented or people that were even associated or even responding to the social media posts that are being made by the people you're monitoring, correct?
Correct.
And you testified that the Instagram account Ghost87 is associated with Rashad Murphy, correct?
Ghost 187.
Yes.
Yes.
And Are you aware of any other social media platform that Rashad Murphy has any association with?
No, sir.
Nothing on Spaces. Never seen him on Spaces.
No, sir.
Never seen him on Facebook or any other platform. Correct?
No, sir.
And the reason that you believe that he is associated with Ghost 87 is through what other detectives had indicated to you, correct?
Detectives and the field interviews.
Right. And field interviews would mean you come upon somebody on the street, you ask them, hey, look, do you know, and for lack of a better term, Johnny Johnson or Jimmy Jones, known as Goodnight or known as Sunrise or whatever it may be.
Yes, sir.
And I don't mean to be funny, but I'm trying to suggest that when you ask about a number of different people, and then that person on the street may say, well, yeah, I know him, he's this, or I know him and he's this.
That's correct.
Okay. And so that's the way that you made a determination that there was an association with Rashad Murphy and Ghost 187 is a combination of asking these people on the street whether in fact it's so, and detectives from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office telling you that, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you never saw Rashad Murphy post on Ghost 187, no profile picture of him, correct?
Correct.
No posts involving his friends or his family or pictures or stories of his kids, none of that, correct?
Correct.
Nothing that you yourself, in the terms of your investigation and furthering your understanding of 1200, would associate Ghost 187 with Rashad Murphy other than what we spoke about, correct?
Correct. In relation to the IG account.
You never screenshotted anything off of that account to memorialize it or to put it in a file or to document Rashad Murphy's use of that Instagram account, correct?
I did not know, sir.
You testified to 187. 187 obviously is part of that Instagram handle, number one, correct? And that was a yes, right?
Correct. Yes. I'm sorry.
And then also 187 is linked to 187 Boys. We talked about kind of two different things, correct?
Correct.
And isn't it a fact essentially that you have referenced this California penal code simply because you don't know any other reason why 187 would make sense?
No, sir. In one of the videos, they reference 187 back to the California Penal Code. I'm unsure right now which music video that they did it in, but they do make reference back to it. They only did it one time. It was a very short phrase in which they did it.
So the determination that you made as it relates to 187 relating to a penal code is not just an assumption by you?
What do you mean?
Isn't it just an assumption by Detective Griffin that 187, as it relates to that number being utilized and it having some reference to the California Penal Code, is just your belief?
I see what you're saying. Yes, sir.
Without anything else to buttress it or corroborate it?
Correct.
And as I understand it, your belief that Ghost, the first part of that Instagram account, if it has any reference to Rashad Murphy, it's because you have been told, or your belief is, he's not a prominent figure up front. He's in the background, and essentially, again, other Jacksonville detectives have indicated to you that he's called Ghost, correct?
Correct.
As it relates to the murders that you discussed in your direct examination, you don't have any evidence, do you, Detective, that would associate Rashad Murphy with any of those shootings or any of those murders, correct?
No, sir.
And when you are discussing the structure of this particular group, 1200, you talked about it in terms of it being a hybrid, correct?
That's correct.
And a hybrid, I think, as you stated, doesn't have any kind of initiation. It doesn't have any structure, doesn't have any guy at the top that tells somebody what to do, who then tells other people what to do, correct?
Correct.
You would agree with me that in a hybrid group, nobody answers to anyone else. It's more an association of where you grew up and what neighborhood you're in.
That's correct.
And along those same lines, I know you talked about on direct, I just want to make sure I clarify it. You talked about money or monetizing, because I think you said 187 used to be the music arm, whereby there was music production and music dissemination.
I'm going to object. This is continuously not an act on direct examination. Both of these lines of crossing.
Yes.
Detective, you're aware that 187 used to be kind of the music arm. It was where and through what platform that these rappers produce their music. Is that a fact?
You're asking, was it also a music group?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And you talked about monetizing. You talked about how the group got money on your direct examination. And you suggested, first of all, that sometimes the gang profits or gets money in order to produce this music by way of the commission of crimes, correct?
Correct.
Well, do you have any way of knowing, Detective, whether if a particular member or associate of the group 1200 goes and steals a car, anybody else gets any money other than that person who steals the car? You would not know that, would you?
Not without further interviews.
Okay. And what about if somebody sells drugs? You don't know that the 5 grams of cocaine that somebody sold would then be split amongst the rest of the group or go to some kind of fund that would produce or that would fund music. You don't know that either, do you?
No, sir.
So when you say that money from crime is utilized for the gang, you're making an assumption that that's what occurs, and you don't have any evidence to support that, correct?
Other than the observations when you see dope sales and then they go from riding in a Toyota Camry to now driving a $100,000 vehicle, and they have no job or no employment, then you can associate that they made their money through the sales of illegal narcotics.
Well, normally when they're doing these productions, they're renting these vehicles for purposes of the production, aren't they?
Renting or putting in girlfriends, baby mamas' names.
Okay. And so you are inferring that if a crime gets committed, all or a portion of that would go to the gang because of what they have and what they utilize.
Correct.
So that's your assumption without knowing that to be the case, correct? Fair?
Yes, sir.
So in gangs, individuals don't have to be told and are often not told to go commit a crime. Correct? In these hybrid situations.
In the hybrid situation is likely no.
So if somebody wants to go commit a crime, they can go commit a crime, and that doesn't mean that anybody else knows or acquiesced or was a part of it, correct?
Correct. You have the one-offs that go and do what they do.
Allowed and not part of any kind of a problem. So you can only loosely associate a crime being committed with the group or with a group of people simply because they associate, correct? Without knowing whether any one of them has any prior knowledge that something was going to happen or a crime was going to be committed.
I don't think I understand your question. So you're saying that combined together, the two individuals wouldn't know what one other is
No,
doing?
let's say two individuals that have some association with 1200 go ahead and go and commit a crime. We don't know, and you don't know whether or not anybody else in that group or association knew that that crime was going to be committed potentially until after it was committed, correct?
Correct.
And you don't have to hate or dislike Charles Jones or Julio Foolio in order to.
Yeah, baby mama, she a fan though. All my niggas, they strapped up, we in that van though. How you hating, you a fan, bro. Bust slow, the honeys, I'm in the Lambo. Yeah, baby.